Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new F1 2020 video. Today we're back with the Nations Cup. This event we are driving around Austria and Bahrain. So Bahrain will be the reverse grid, and first we're gonna head into Austria. I didn't really practice for this event at all because you know, doing 3-4 tracks per week is quite a lot, and I wanted to do something different, so I did Automobilista for fun a little bit. So we're probably not gonna perform very well, I think so, around Austria. I only did 4 laps of practice in total, just before this qualifying session. So it is gonna be quite tough. I did a few race laps around Bahrain. Luckily we had Bahrain in PHL not so long ago. So that's gonna help, I hope so. A little bit. I've done quite a lot of laps around Bahrain on this game, so I think we're gonna be quite decent around there. It's just gonna be Austria we're gonna be struggling a lot on. I'll pull up the standings as you can see here. We are currently leading by 1 point against Team Hungary, 2 points to Team Spain, 3 points to Team Rest of the World, and 5 points to Team Italy, and then 10 points to Team Finland, and then after that there's quite a big gap to Team Poland, France, Europe and Turkey. So yeah, we're leading by 1 point, luckily. We had a, I think, pretty good last event.
The viewers have faith in you.
I have no idea what the Flourish was saying there, but now opening my DRS for the first time as I start my lap. Heading into turn 1, you can see it's a bit cloudy, so you can see turn 1 pretty well. Going through turn 1, that looked very good, felt really good as well. So pretty good first sector for my first lap. It's gonna be, I think, a 15.618 it is. Down to second gear to get some good rotation through the hairpin.
How did
missed the apex a little bit.
Ah, okay.
I think Team Europe had a quali ban, so I should hear time and say quali ban for that Ferrari that just retired. Going through this next left-hander, 5th gear, trying to keep the rear stable, and then up to the next left-hander again. 43.577 on the middle split, which is quite good to be honest. Looking to do a 0.5 in the final quali run, a low 0.5 through the last sector. So looking to be a 0.1 or a 0.0 through here. Quite on the limit on the exit there. It's gonna be a 102.241. As I didn't expect to go provisional pole at all because of the lack of practice. So very good first lap, very good banker, and now it's gonna be quite tough to improve from here on, of course, as I felt like that was quite a good lap. As now we go into the final, you can see I improved a little bit to 102.120, but other people improved as well. And well, I filled up for 2 laps in a row, so I can do 2 push laps in a row now. Going into turn 1, didn't have the best exit. You can see I lost a little bit of time going into turn 1 on that straight. Run wide, so that was an invalidation. So I'm gonna go again for 1 more qualifying lap. You can see straight went to ridge to burn some fuel off. As our lap will obviously be slower, I'm not gonna keep on pushing. I'm gonna save these tires for that final qualifying lap. As for that final qualifying lap, we're gonna be a lot lighter. As you can see, a lot less fuel. And this time we're looking to get it right through turn 1. Much better exit from the last corner as well. We did get it right, a little bit of oversteer though through that first corner. As we are now almost half a tent up going through sector 1 into the hairpin, down to second gear again. 300s up on Alvaro Carreton. We had a pretty good first sector, and that hairpin was a slight improvement as well. Now upshifting, DRS open, upshifting to 8th gear, and then braking at just after 100 meter board down to 3rd gear, and short shifting to 4th. Not the greatest of exits, a little bit under the limit, and going through this next left hand, you can see there's a car on the outside there. Downshifting to 5th, and then up to 6th, down to 5th again. You can see we're 1.2 times up, and that left hander was pretty off limit, not ideal. As I go through the next right hander, I remember on my previous best lap it was very good the last 2 corners, and going through this last corner I didn't really get it right. You can see I lost a lot of time, and I decided to brake just before the line in the hope I can get P11 and start on new mediums, as I felt like improving or finishing a lap I would have only
Thanks.
Gone like P7 as my teammate Timon goes P10. You can't see it because my big ass hat is in front of it, but as you can see here, my teammate Timon in P10. If I would have gone on, I would have maybe qualified P7, maybe not. Would have been close, but I felt like starting on new mediums in P11 was going to be a slight advantage over P7 and old softs. Shouldn't forget that was actually my second lap on those tires, so yeah, it would have not been ideal if I finished that lap. As we now line up on the grid on new mediums ahead of the start of this race, you can see Team Turkey starting on the softs, so he's going to be rapid at the start. We are trying to get some moves done in the first lap to try and move a few places. I had no idea what I said there. But anyway, let's head towards the start of the race now. 5 red lights and away we go. Pretty good initial start. Second phase was slightly worse, obviously because of the tires. We're starting against these soft runners. Going into turn 1. Around the outside of Team Turkey. Trying to get past Akinci as Timon is giving me a little toe into the hairpin. Time goes down the inside, which is good for us, but then Tormalau went to the outside as well, so I couldn't brake really deep as I got pushed a little bit off. Right there, so that cost me a little bit of time. Now I'm trying to get the slipstream here of Akinci into the next right-hander. Going down the inside, but he was making it 3 wide, so I had to back out, and that cost me a position to Stachulek. If I say his name right, I'm not sure actually. So now we've lost 2 places. Luckily only 1 medium runner got past us. Quite sure we can get Akinci back later on in this race on new softs once we put them on.
Conditions look stable at the moment. No rain currently expected. Dry seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
So yeah, another ideal start of the race. You can see Stachulek run out of ERS. Same for us as we try to fight back against Akinci on that back straight. So we use a lot of ERS, but now we're gonna try and save up a little bit again. But then I saw Ben Sabo behind me put the overtake button on. I waited until he pulled out of my slipstream and then put on my own overtake button. Going into the next right-hander, we luckily managed to stay ahead. I think we squeezed him a little bit, maybe a little bit, but not too much. So turning on my overtake again to defend from Ben Sabo, and we managed to stay ahead, but we did use a lot of ERS again on this lap, so really need to try and get some ERS back before I go into the pits. I'm looking to try and get a massive undercut, which is gonna be tough, but we're gonna try it anyway, and maybe jump a few people ahead of us who are doing a few more laps on the softs. Softs will drop off more aggressively, of course, than the mediums, so gonna be interesting to see what everyone is gonna do strategy-wise.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions looking good. Dry seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
As now we move on to the end of lap 5, I'm gonna box this lap for new softs, or actually used softs, but they have only done like half a push lap, so only 2% old, more or less. So basically new. Going into the pits, braking just in time. We nailed that pretty much. And now boxing for softs, and once again we're getting held.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just don't get why Codemasters still have not changed anything on this, as
shitty fucking nation, Scott.
as it's just simply unfair. Like, I really don't get it. I understand the point of realism, but in F1 esports we did have ghosting, so why is there no option made for the normal game to turn on ghosting in pit lane as well? As for league racing, it's just simply unfair. So I just really don't get it. And it's not just because we're in the Mercedes, it's just also if you're in the McLaren or whatever other team, you can get held for so long. And it's just random. And I think in competitive racing, you shouldn't have this much randomness, especially in these short races we are doing right now. It's just so unfair. So I think Josh had it last Nations Cup in Baku as well, where you can hold like 5 or 6 seconds. It's just so unfair, and it ruins the the competitiveness in league racing. So Kodamas should really do something about it, because I think it's just absolutely fucking ridiculous in my opinion. But now going back to the race, we managed to jump statue leg, and now I used a lot of ERS to try and get past Ben Sabo as well. Akinci on the mediums of course, and they were probably a little bit cold. So now we're gonna turn on the overtake button again to try and get past Akinci into the next corner. I'm gonna send it down the inside and up to P13 we go. We try to stay around the outside, but we turn on the overtake button for a brief moment, and now I'm gonna try to get within the DRS of my teammate Timon Shooter.
Yeah,
As I used a lot of ERS in this lap, so we're probably gonna set the fastest lap. I think so. I'm pushing again to try and get the DRS of my teammate ahead. So this is gonna be a pretty fast lap. We're already running out of ERS. That's how much we used. But we're gonna get DRS, so we're safe from that. And it's gonna be a 103.8, a second faster than the previous fastest lap. Even though we had to overtake a few cars, so very fast lap there, but we did use a lot of ERS. Astino now Carina, I think, went by accident onto the hards. So good chance we can get him as well, as the hards are terrible around here.
No. Stay ahead.
As Matthijs said, or asked Timon if he could let me by, but I was too far away in my opinion, and there was no point in already letting me by. I felt like it was better and more ideal if I was a little bit closer. So I'm gonna push on. As you can see, Timon is flashing for low ERS, so we can maybe use a little bit of ERS to get past him as well, so he doesn't lose time, and maybe get Tino as well, as I get my first warning of the race, or actually maybe my second. I remember I did get 2 warnings
After turn 1.
eventually. So as you can hear me say, after turn 1 I'm gonna overtake Timon, so I'm gonna DRS, and he's low on ERS, so using that slipstream a little bit to my advantage. Going to turn 1, tire advantage is gonna help me as well, and now turn on the overtake button to have an easy pass, and I should just be able to get the DRS from Tino as well, I think so. Maybe not. As you can see in the bottom right, we are gonna get DRS. So now we're gonna hunt down Tino to try and get that P9. As we now move on to the start of lap 13, you can see I've closed the gap to Tino, but my softs are degrading faster than his hards, of course. Arguably they're still quite a bit faster, and they might only be slower in the final 2 or 3 laps, so I have to make the move now. I'm gonna turn on the overtake, hold it on as long as I can down the inside, and a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but we're gonna get DRS again. So does he from his teammate Johnny Tormala. We're gonna turn on the overtake, going into the next right-hander. We're gonna try and brake slightly later, but I go a little bit deep, and now he's gonna get the switchback. Luckily he's on the hards and he doesn't have that much traction into the next left-hander. And surprisingly, for one of the first times, actually didn't have contact with someone in this championship. So that's a plus. I remember I had a clean battle with Danny Resnay in Silverstone as well, of course. Other than that, I think I had contact with pretty much every overtake so far in this championship. So GG's to Tino for not turning in on me. I left him in place as well. So good battle. And now we're gonna try and stay within Joni Tormala's DRS. I think we're not really gonna get him or overtake him, as we're low on ERS, or softs are gonna drop off. So just have to try and stay within DRS and keep this position basically. As now we move on to the final sector of the race, my rear tires are absolutely gone, but we managed to stay within the DRS of Joni Tormala. Luckily there's some people ahead of us who have penalties as well, and well, basically I think Joni saved me a little bit. As my rear, you can see I have so much oversteer going to this final sector. I can barely put on any lock, but because there are penalties up front from Di Capua and Haddad, we get P7.
Oh no, someone is pitted. Never mind.
We did get fastest lap in the end, so that was good. I think Fabricio pitted and went for the fastest lap in the end, but very good that we managed to gain a few positions. Unfortunately we got held in the pits, otherwise we would have a much better race. But yeah, well, that's on Codemasters for ruining my race and probably others as well.
I need to focus.
we now move on to the Bahrain reverse grid race. We finished P7, so that means we're going to start P9 in the reverse grid race. We're going to start on the hards. We get a pretty good start, as you can see. Instantly past Tino Naukarina at the start, and I'm going to move down the inside here in turn 1. Try to get and gain some place early on, as the Red Bull absolutely completely turns in on me. And now he moves off track for some reason. I have no idea. He had more than enough space. As into turn 4 we go now. I'm going to try and have a look at the inside. Nothing we can do. I have to back out of that one, as Lovetje goes quite wide. And I'm going to try and get him on the next right-hander. Again, I almost lost the rear. Nicolas gets past me here. I squeezed him a bit wide, as obviously I just had the slide, so I was caught a bit off guard after the slide. So sorry for that one, Nicolas. That was on me. I think he didn't get any losses from it though. So up to P7 he goes. We're in P8, so we actually still gained 1 position, so that's good to us. Good for us. Dominic Lovetje lost a few places. I think he went very wide in turn 4 after going side by side with Stachulek in that corner. And now Nicolas going a little bit wide. He's really pushing it. We're aiming to do the hard to medium strategy. Hard to soft as possible as well, but I wasn't sure about that. So really depends on what everyone else is going to do. And see once we get to the pit window what we're going to do basically. As we now move on to the start of lap 7, you can see Nicolas Longue goes down the inside of Stachulek, but overshoots
with Lemulo.
and has wing damage now. So Longue is pretty much going to be out of this race with that front wing damage that he just got. I think he just missed his braking point slightly and overshot the corner. I think he only tried to overtake Stachulek and then hit the racing point ahead by accident. So that's good for us. You can see he's already struggling with understeer. So with our full battery, it's not going to take too long before we can put on a move against him. As we move on, half a lap later, you can see Nicolas losing us a lot of time, really struggling with the understeer. But we're going to turn on the overtake button. DRS is on. He doesn't get DRS as he was just out of the DRS window. And now we are also going to get going to be in the DRS of Stachulek ahead. So we still have a pretty much full battery. And I'm not sure what the people ahead of me have. Of course, not everyone is streaming, and well, I'm sure the official stream is not going to be focusing on the midfield battles more or less. So once we get more up front, we can maybe see a little bit better who has a lot of DRS and who doesn't. But yeah, now we just have to slowly get past the people ahead on the same strategy, as a lot of people have started on the hards. So that's going to be interesting for sure. As we now move on to the end of lap 12, I've got up to my teammate Matthijs.
I'm gonna pass you now.
And I've decided to pass him now, as he was struggling on those hards with the balance of the car. I think he had a lot of oversteer, which is quite painful around here. It's really a traction track basically. You really need the rear tires to work well around here. And now we're gonna hand down Stachulek once again. I'm trying to keep my battery as high as possible in case we want to do a massive undercut or overcut. So now we move on to halfway lap 18. Jeff is being absolute pain as I just changed to softs. Yeah, so I want to go for softs. A lot of people went for mediums, and I wanted to do the opposite, so we can really show our pace. But as we go through this right-hander, as we hit 75% on the rear left, we get an instant puncture. So
well, at least it's only 1 corner to go.
Yeah, another thing.
Why did it change to mediums again? This game is so shit.
As you can hear me say, my strategy kept changing to mediums, even though I selected softs already like 5 times. So it was really pissing me off. I lost 3 seconds because
and why is my car slowing
that puncture.
Why is my car going so slow? Okay, I'm not gonna.
So yeah, another thing I absolutely don't agree with Codemaster is like, as soon as you hit 75%, you can just randomly get a puncture.
Zeker weer meer practice. Ik heb echt 0 deze, man. Holy shit.
As well, basically, the less rubber you get, the higher the chance of a puncture should be. At the moment, it's like, as soon as you hit 75%, you can randomly get a puncture. So you can basically drive until 95% and still not have a puncture. But at the same time you can instantly get a puncture at 35%. When in my opinion it should be as more tire wear you get, the more or the higher the chance of a puncture there should be. As basically the less rubber, the higher the chance the tire falls apart basically. So anyway, back to the race. We're on softs. We came out in P14. We've got Barry on the same strategy behind us, who was at first just over 3 seconds behind us, and now because of that puncture we lost 3 seconds basically. So he was right behind us coming out of the pits, as I'm gonna try and get past Pablo Joklar straight away into this left-hander. We're gonna have to brake very late to make this move. Down the inside we go, up to P13. Crucial we made that move because we really have to use these softs ASAP. Very unfortunately, if we didn't have that puncture, we would have been ahead of all those people ahead of us, as the 3 seconds would just been enough to be ahead of this train or be around that Force India, Racing Point you can see going on to the straight now. So very unfortunate we got that puncture, and now we have to try and get past Akinci as soon as possible. We went purple in sector 2 and 3. So very good outlap, really using these softs as good as possible. You can see Fabrizio going for the undercut, or did I say that right? Undercut? Yeah, undercut is the right word. As now I'm going to turn the overtake button down the inside of Fabrizio.
Very nice.
Akinci goes defensive. We go down the inside. We get a little bit of oversteer, so a little bit of a tap. And now Fabrizio gets back past us, but we have way more grip on those softs. So up to P11 now, and hunting down Joni Tormela. We have to try and get past him as soon as possible as well. This is luckily the mechanical section, so you really need those tires. So I'm gonna get a lot better traction through here. You can see those softs are just in another level at the moment. Down the inside of Joni Tormela and up to P10 we go. As you guys might know, top 15 gets points in this championship. So we have already been in the points. Basically the wall race. Luckily Team France is basically out because they did pretty well in the first event with Nicolas winning the race, I think so. Maybe not, I think he actually got a penalty, so they didn't score that well. But sure, I'm quite sure they will do better later on, or in the later events. As now we go down the inside of Tino and Alcarina, up to P9 with the fastest lap of the race. And now we're gonna hunt down Domenico Lovecchia from Team Italy in the Racing Point. Quite surprised Team Italy is actually not in the Ferrari, as that would have fitted way better. But now turning on the DRS again, down the inside of Domenico Lovecchia, and next up is our teammate Matthijs van Erven. If we didn't have a puncture, we would have already been basically past our teammate probably. As that cost us 3 seconds as we go purple by a whole of a second in sector 1 again. And you can see how much we're gaining on those softs to my teammate. We've already gained 1 second, I think, in the past 4 corners or something like that. So softs are on an absolute different level at the moment. As now we move on to 1 lap later. You can see Stachelek going wide and my teammate Matthijs van Erven having a little look on the exit. And this is where I'm losing quite a lot of time, as into this next left-hander those mediums have no grip compared to my softs. My softs are degrading fast as well, of course. Now I'm going to turn on my ERS to try and get past my teammate here. Obviously a little bit of team orders, as my softs are way faster at this point, and I'm trying to make up as many positions as possible. Stachelek is rear light is flashing, which means he's under 10% into the next right-hander. We have a lot more grip still, and we're looking to make as many moves as possible on the next straight. As you can see, 3 people ahead of us. 1 is flashing, so we should get him easily with the use of ERS. And on his exit you can see big snap of oversteer as he's struggling with the rears. Down the inside we go, and we're looking to get Puki from Team Hungary as well in this next hairpin. He goes defensive right here, and so we go down the outside and he is stuck behind Lamullo from Team Italy, and around the outside we go up to P5, and now we have to make moves fast as our softs are degrading. So again, DRS plus overtake button down the inside, and that is 3 moves in basically 4 corners. And now we're gonna hunt down Yoshido from Team Rest of the World. was basically in the lead group with Dani Bresnay and Tomek Poratsis, and now this is so unfortunate because at the moment we still have the tire advantage, and if we didn't have that puncture we would have been right there with them, and probably being more or less almost in the lead now. So as I had to overtake a lot more cars because of this wall puncture issue. But anyway, we're still driving a phenomenal race in my opinion. We've made a lot of moves in the past 4 laps. We went from P14 to P4 I think in 4 laps. As Barry is on the exact same strategy, I think we're 4 or 5 seconds ahead of him right now. So we have done a lot, or a really good job trying to get past these cars. You can see I went to 55 brake buys as I had to use a lot of my rear tires to make those moves. So now I have to be a little bit careful so I don't get a puncture again later on in the race. And now we move on to the last lap. We managed to bring the gap down to 2 seconds at some point to Josh, but as I felt like we didn't have the chance to get past them anyway, I decided to just play it safe, save my rear tires, and just get the P4, not risk a puncture again, and just take home those points basically. So yeah, I backed off in the end. You can see 75%. We again risk of a puncture, even though I decided to save the rears after I would say lap 26. So Lemulo is back into DRS now, but we managed to get pretty nicely, and I'm just playing it safe now. So just gonna bring it home in P4 in case something happens up front. We can gain another position, but I don't think that will happen. So we're gonna finish P4 in this reverse grid race. Very unfortunately, I think we definitely had a chance to win this race if we didn't get that puncture, but it is what it is. P4 it is. I think as a driver we got the second most points, as Dani Bresnay got the most points, I think so, as he finished ahead of us in Austria, and now he finished ahead of us again. So
the puncture ruined everything because I had to
definitely
overtake, like,
a good race.
7 extra cars because of it.
I think we got the maximum out of it after that puncture. So yeah, unfortunately, but that happens sometimes. I really hope these issues get fixed for next game, like the holding in the pits and the risk of a puncture gets changed based on how much tire wear you have, and not just an RNG, which I think shouldn't be in competitive esports or league racing. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and see you guys next time. Ciao.